Hello, beautiful people. Today I'm going to be making a snowman and a snow woman. So, for my snowman, I blew up a balloon, pretty decent size, for his body, and then I have this green one for his head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this to this. I'm going to tape it down. And this is going to be his head, and this is going to be his body. So I'm going to tape these two down, if it would stay. So, I have painter's tape. You can use any kind of tape you have. I don't suggest that you use Scotch tape, because you'd have a whole bunch of Scotch tape you'd have to be using. So, I have the one, and then I have the other, and this is a little tricky, so you want to get it in there, but you also want it to hold on to the other balloon. So this is a little tricky to do. So you want like an even amount on both, okay? So you want to tape his head on. I'm going to do that off camera because I'm going to need my son to help me, because I'm sure he's going to be thrilled. So, be right back. I found out the easiest way is to do the little nubs that you blow in to tape them together. And then now I'm going to push these together and tape all around as best I can to make the neck. Here is my man, and it doesn't look great, but we're going to do paper mache, so it's okay. So here's my man. Here's my lady's body. Hers is a little better, and I'm going to build out the neck with the paper mache. And now we're going to do their feet. So I took a paper towel, or toilet paper holder, cut it down the middle, and these are going to be their feet. So I'm going to tape them on the bottom so that my little snowman can stand up. So I have two sets of these that I'm going to tape on the bottom. So I have the smaller balloon on top, the bigger balloon's going to be the bottom, and I'm going to tape their little leggies on. These are going to be their feet. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it to both of them, and then I'll come back and show you. So what I did for my Mr. Man was I gave him his little feet, and I covered here. He doesn't have any arms. I'm going to build up his arms. For my little lady, I gave her her own toilet paper rolls for her arms, and I taped them on. So now I'm going to get started with my gentleman first, my Mr. Man, and my paper mache. So let's do that. I have a big bowl of water. I have a spatula, and I have flour, just regular flour. You could use glue and water or flour and water to make what am I doing? Paper mache. That's what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm old and I forget things, even though I'm doing it. So I'm going to add flour to the water, and I'm going to mix this up, and then I'm going to get newspaper. So you need a decent amount of flour. And I like making crafts where you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. And I'm thinking that my little snowman and woman will be able to be sitting on a side table or something. So right now what I'm doing is I am trying to get all the bubbles out of the flour, and I'm mixing it up. So I'm going to do that, and once that's all done, I'm going to cut up some paper, newspaper, magazine paper, and then I'm going to get started Mod Podging my little man, and then once he's all done, I'm going to try my little lady. So this is still too runny, even though I have a lot of thick bubbles in here. Well, not bubbles, but a lot of the flour that needs to be, you know, separated or whatever you want to call it, smushed down. So I'm going to get on to doing that and adding more. No rhyme or reason, you just want it thick. I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I get to that point. And I'm so excited to be making these because I'm just trying to make things from what I have at home, so I'm not spending a lot of money. Okay? So I will be back once I get all the little hard pieces out, the thickness, and add more flour. So I will come back and show you. Here is what it looks like. It's still a little runny, but it's not bad because it's just getting thick on the bottom. So what you want to do is take your newspaper, magazines, whatever, put them in your paper mache. You should probably wear gloves, but I don't care. So I'm not wearing gloves, and I took my little man. I'm doing Mr. Man first. So I'm going to put him right here, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. So you put it in the mixture, you kind of strain it off, and then you put it on. So I am going to do this, and I'm going to have 3 layers of paper on him. I'll come back after I do the first one and show you what he looks like. So I'm going to continue this, and it's going to get very messy, and I'll come back and show you probably after I'm done my first layer, because I'd like to do 3, and I'll be back to show you. Now I'm waiting for the little people to dry, and I want to show you how to make the mittens. So I have a bag that you get from the store, and what you do is you roll it up. You want it decently thick. It doesn't have to be, because you're going to make it bigger with your paper mache. So like kind of in a squarish thing, you're going to take your tape and you're going to tape it. So you want to tape all around with your tape, because you want to make a mitten that you're going to put paper mache on. So I'm just taping it so that it stays together, and I want to show you how to make the thumb. So you don't want 2 of them. I gotta get my other tape. I'm running out. You don't want 2 thumbs going the exact same way, because you want them to be able to pretty much go like this, thumb on each side. So I have, what the heck did I do with this one? I don't think that's right. Okay, so what you do is you take more of your plastic bag, and then you like roll it, and then you take your tape and you tape your thumb. That's all you do. You tape your thumb, and get your scissor, cut that off. So I already made 2 gloves, 1, 2, but I have the thumbs going in. So you want to do the same thing for your other set of mittens. So all you're going to do is take your tape and tape your thumb on your mitten, and it goes up. See how it goes up? Then you're going to want to do the same thing to the other one. So just like that, and you're going to want it to go up. So this is how you know the way it goes, just like that. Now what I've done is I've made my paper mache into a massive blob of ripped up paper and flour and water. And basically, when my little lady and little man dry, I'm going to start putting this on them to give them some texture and to reinforce what I've done. So I'm going to take one of these gloves and show you how to do it. So it's the same thing you had, but this will help you shape it. So you want this to look like a glove, a mitten, not a glove. Glove has a lot of fingers. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my paper mache mixture and putting it around to make my mitten. And you can make it as fluffy as you want or as thick as you want. You want to do the front and the back. And all I did to make the mixture was I ripped up a bunch of newspaper or sale ads, whatever you want to call it. I ripped them up, and I then in turn, after I ripped them up, just put it in my mixture that I made earlier, and then mix it together. So you just want to shape this to make it look like a thumb. And that's all I'm doing. Right now I'm still waiting for my little lady and my little man to dry. So now it's starting to look more in the shape of a mitten. So there you go. Here's my mitten. And this is going to have to dry. It's going to take a while because it's pretty thick. But I have one mitten done. So I am going to let this dry and make the other ones. And that's it. I can keep messing with this all day. But here's my mitten. I think it's the thumb's too long, so I might cut that. I'm thinking I'm going to cut that, because it seems way too long. Like the thumb is like way longer. So I'm going to cut off a piece of the thumb. Okay, I'm going to take that piece out that I just cut off. And I'm just sticking. Here's the piece I cut off. See, that looks a little better, but it still looks a little large. So I just need more definition to it. But there's my mitten, yay! So I'm going to come back, and when it's done, when they're all done, and you know. So this is the mitten that'll eventually go onto the arms, or you know, of my snowman or my snow lady. So here you go. So I'm going to keep doing that. Here's my snowman, all dry. My son says it looks like a small child wrapped in a newspaper, which is kind of creepy. He told me it's very creepy. So basically, I'm going to use my mush paste that I have right here, and I'm going to build up my snowman with my mush paste, is what I'm calling it. It's basically shredded newspaper in the flour mix. So I'm just going to go around and put this all on to reinforce. It's just another way that I'm doing my Mod Podge. And I want to start with the neck to make sure that the neck is firm, and then I want to do the legs for sure to make sure that he can stand up on his own, which right now he's like a drunken sailor. So I'm going to work on that, come back and show you what he looks like. Here's my little lady snow woman. I'm going to put the mush paste on it. I couldn't get her arms to stay on. So once this all dried on top of the balloons, I took the arms and I hot glued them on. I don't know if you can see that. I hot glued her little arms on so they would stay. So right now this Mr. Snowman is still drying, and here she is. She can't stand, which I have to rectify that. But right now I'm going to put her mush paste on, and then that's going to take a while for her to dry. But this is what she looks like. So I'm going to get the mush paste. Here is my Mr. Man. Here's his belly. And I'm going to use my paste to build up his arms like right here. Okay? Because this is going to be the front. So you pick whichever side you want as the front. And then I've got my Mod Podge paste, whatever you want to call it. Yuck. And I want to build him up some arms just laying on his little belly. And don't forget we made mittens, so the mittens are going to be on here too. So just want to make him some little arms so that they stand out, so when you paint him you can see his little arms on him. So that's what I'm going to do, work on his little arms, because we have the mittens that are drying and they're very thick, so it's going to take a while for that to dry. That's why I'm trying to do what I can and show you each different thing on him and her so that you can do it while it's drying. So I'm building up his little arms. You want to make sure they're positioned how you want them. And then he'll have his little mittens right here in the middle of his belly. So I'm going to work on his little arms and build them up. As I'm building up his arms, I went and got his little mittens. They're not completely dry, but I put them on and they're going to stick because it's wet. But I want to build up enough of his little arms so that his mittens are on there and they don't look like they're not totally on our little man's arms. So that's what I'm doing. I'm fixing him as best I can, trying to make sure his head's secure and make sure he has definition for his hands. He's got his little mittens, which is awesome. The hands line up with the mittens. If it doesn't, just build it up some more, because you want the arms and the mittens to be seamless. So here he is. So of course he needs to dry, and that's what I'm going to wait for that to happen. And the little lady is still wet, so I can't work on her right now. So right now I'm just messing with him a bit, and so yeah, I'm reinforcing his legs while I do this. I made him some arms. I really like his little arms. His little mittens go into where his arms are. His head's a little heavy, and I'm going to have to eventually work on doing, oh, I just messed that up, doing his legs, his feet a little better so that he can stand, because I want both of these little people to be able to stand. So right now they're still wet, so I'm having an issue with that. But you mold it as you go. So here's his little hands and his little arms, and I think he's turning into a really cute little snowman. So gonna work on that. So for this little diva, we have her little mittens on, and she's all done, except for she doesn't stand so good, but I'm not really concerned about that. I want to make some ruffles here, and I'm thinking of making her a dress. So I have my paste of Mod Podge. Not Mod Podge, I'm sorry. Paper mache. I don't know why I'm saying Mod Podge. And I'm going to mold this down here, and I'm going to make like a bib for a little dress. So that's what I'm going to be doing, making her a little dress. I like how I have my paper mache like this so that I can build whatever I want. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll come back and show you. I'm also going to be making earmuffs for my little man. So I'm going to work on this, and I'll be back. Okay, here's my little man all done. After the paper mache dried, I then went to the Dollar Tree and I bought this lightweight spackle. It's 6 ounces. It's $1. When I was at Walmart for $5.72, I believe, for an 8-ounce container, it was $5.72 for an 8-ounce. I got a 6-ounce for $1. So I went through 6 of these, 3 on this gentleman and 3 on his little lady. I am not done yet, but his nose fell off because he fell, because he's not secure to stand up. I did have earmuffs on the side. I decided against them. Took them off before he was dry. So here's his little eyes. I have to do a mouth, and here's his nose, and here's his little mittens and his buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting everything that needs to be painted, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to work on the white more. I'm going to probably paint more of the white on him, and then chuck some glitter on, and then we'll accessorize. So I don't think you want to watch me paint. So I'm going to paint his eyes, his nose, somehow figure out his little mouth, do his little buttons, and do his little mittens, and come back, show you that before I go to the next part. So here's my little lady so far. She's almost done. I got this little hair accessory in the baby section of the Dollar Tree. So I want to put this on her head. Try not to lose too much of her glitter. Not as easy as you would think to put this on a snow woman. She's losing a lot of her glitter this way. That stinks. So, there we go. I'm going to put it off to the side a little bit. And I'm going to fix it so it's not all my Lanta. Okay, so this, I probably am going to need help from my son or my husband to put this doggone baby thing on my snow woman. Let me try and do it one more time. There we go. Okay. She's a mess. So, that's bananas how it won't go on. Bananas. I think you need 2 hands for this. So, here it is. Okay. Finally. So I'm going to glue this on her little head. But I wanted to add, she's got red mittens with green trim. So I have a poinsettia flower. And I kind of want to put it on her. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I want it in the middle, but maybe over here. So I'm thinking I will put it, my hot glue is not hot yet. I don't know if I want that on there or not. Okay, so I want to show you what I got at Walmart for her scarf. It's a bandana. and it costs $1.97. It's got little puppies on it and green. So it's green, red, black, and it's a bandana. Very, very thin bandana. So I'm going to fold it into a triangle shape, just like this, and then I'm going to wrap it, roll it around, just like that, and take it around her head, and loop it through, and bring this over to be her little scarf. And I am going to cut little frays in the bottom on her little head here. Pig apparently loves the smell of spray paint and decided that my little snowman was going to be very tasty. So he has to dry before I finish him. Okay? So I'm going to work on her a little bit more, and then I'm done with her. And then I have to work on my gentleman when he's dry. Here's the little lady all done. I added some green to her little hair accessory. And here she is in all her glory. She's sitting on her bum. Awesome. And over here we have our gentleman that my pig had eaten his nose and his little hands. I have him propped up with a water bottle just so that he can stay here for video purposes. But here they are, my little man and my little lady. Thanks so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.